What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Synder, here for your bi-weekly episode of Lucky Fuzzies here today. I'm going to be riding solo this week, however. My co-host Drift is busy with business meeting, but that's all good. We're going to rapid fire through the news, then I'll catch you guys next time we go live. So, we got a few things on the list for today. We've got Street Fighter 5 news, KOF, Guilty Gear, Battle for the Grid, Grand Blue Versus, and some lesser known titles you might want to hear about, or maybe not. We'll see. Now, let's get right into it. First up on the list of things for today, we've got Oro for Street Fighter 5. Rose is currently out right now, actually, but Oro was shown off to a pretty decent extent in his in the spring update. So, we're gonna go through his things really quickly. I'll give a little bit of discussion. Thankfully, that Gamers Prey edited this down for everybody. And as we can see, Oro's carrying the turtle, which is basically just them getting away with making Oro not use both hands. Slightly hurtful, especially since we don't get to see him use his V trigger to use both hands or anything, but it's all good. Oro looks fine overall to me. Here's a big thing that I'm glad about. He has some nice moves. I like how flashy he is with the turtle, considering he has to juggle it through the battle. Um, Notably, this is a cool move because he gets to jump after it. Well, no, Oro looks pretty neat overall. I hope that he stays tricksy, like his third strike variation, which seems like we might stay that way because of his V skill 1. And he does have all his specials along with this new move. But no, we move on over to the point where they use the V system. There we go. This V skill looks great to me. I'm glad it's here, which has two different angles as we can see. Slow, but it beats other projectiles. And the second V skill is going to be this hop spin he has. I think we followed up with punch or kick. V trigger 1's his command grab. And V trigger 2 is going to be the Tengu Stones. Which overall he looks like a very interesting character to me. His buttons look nice. He has cool V's. He has a cool V trigger 1. He has a cool V skill 1, which is probably what I'll use when I play him. And V trigger 2 could be interesting as well, just for how it does. It can extend. He has some nice auto animations as well, but here they show some quick combos. We'll say his combos look neat, but I worry that Oro. I won't say that. We'll see how things turn out when the character comes out. But yes, this is what they showed off. They showed off Oro. Recently, as I said, Oro is already out. And in addition, we also got to see some Akira. Just one moment for that. Let me line the screen up a bit for you. And there we go. Alright, let's go this way. Might get slammed with copyright, but oh well. Gotta love the air combos coming out from Akira. I hope she looks really fun, which I hope she stays that way. Oh, and this beats trigger is tight. I love how he walks away. Well, we still have no news on the mystery character though, which I'm curious who the mystery character will turn out to be. My own assumption, and this is mostly just because I want to see Maximilian give out a bunch of gift subs, is Kyo from KOF. Especially because SNK has been putting out some cool stuff recently. So it could be possible. Next up, we're going to move right along. We're going to rapid fire through today's episode. We've got Mai from KOF. Speaking of, her trailer came out recently. I'm going to turn the music up a bit. Copyright be damned. I wonder if... I find it pretty funny that they released Mai and Fermi one after another. So I'm curious to see in the comments who your SNK waifu is between the two. Let me know, you guys. That cross-up is dirty, by the way. It almost made me want to play her when I first saw that. I'll be honest, that looks underwhelming to me. The super, I think I have a slight issue with that super, which is mostly the fact that the way it ends. Oh, would you look at that right there? Perfect. We'll get right on into the next one then. Now between two of these, my personal favorite is going to be Shermie, but that's because I love grapplers, so I have an inherent playstyle bias there. You know, overall, both of the characters look pretty good to me. The trailers are still, they're a bit jump cutty, but they're getting much better as time goes on. I think part of it is I don't have anywhere near as much of an issue with the graphics as Drift does, or with the trailer cuts. But Drift is also a professional photographer to a degree, so he has a more critical view on the subject, which I can appreciate. Also, I love the music in the trailer. Shermie specifically. But no, I hope we get some more news about KOF. They released earlier today, the Team Hero OST, but I'm hoping to see more like gameplay mechanic stuff. They've teased rollback, or specifically they said they're working on it. I hope we get a confirmation that it's gonna be in the game. That'll be what really pushes the game over the edge for me. Because I am more interested in KOF 15 than Street Fighter 5 updates personally. But that's a personal bias. I digress. Overall, I think my big takeaway, at least from those two, is that SNK and Capcom are both still hard at work. I really hope we see more, specifically as far as seeing the final character of Street Fighter 5 and more news about the game itself for KOF 15. Moving on, we have Battle for the Grid, and speaking of Street Fighter, they are having a crossover with Battle for the Grid. Move this back here, my bad. Sound up a bit.
And I'm your worst nightmare.
And if you haven't already seen,
It's forfeit time!
that boy Ryu's in here.
You must defeat my Shoryuken to stand a chance.
Now, This looks like Marvel review, which is fine by me because Marvel review is way cooler than any other review. Because Street Fighter review is kind of sleep, not gonna lie. But Marvel review, he's out here. Look at this combo. I don't care. And look at this, the EX Hadouken is amazing looking. The way it like spirals back and forth around the character and then hits. The Shoryuken looks great. These are the models taken from the mobile game, if I'm not wrong. Also, that restand is unnecessarily tight. Into the Tatsumaki. When you gonna Saki Lord's death, you gotta hold that. Genku, I don't care. And if you were any bit of worried about it, by the way,
I know the answer lies ahead.
there is going to be a spring sale
You ready for
if you're
this?
any bit worried about the price. And of course, here's Chun-Li coming along with the they did also announce, in addition to this coming in May 25th, there will be a spring bundle sale sort of thing for Battle for the Grid. It'll contain the base game, both season passes, and the Street Fighter crossover pass, or all 3 season passes, whatever it is. In fact, let me just grab the specific information to make sure I don't tell you guys wrong. The Battle for the Grid bundle will contain a bit more scrolling than I thought, sorry. There it is. Season passes 1 through 3, the Street Fighter pack, and 4 bonus skins, as I thought. So that'll be good to see. Battle for the Grid is a game that's pretty cool. It's this Marvel-esque game, but it's very, and you can tell it is because every hit is a TOD. I hope we get to see a lot more coming out of Battle of the Grid in the future, or perhaps even a sequel. This crossover definitely says of sort of they're willing to branch out. So I hope to see good things from it. Moving on, quicker mention we've got here is going to be Guilty Gear in person. In that they're going to be hosting some, you can't read this because it's in Japanese, or maybe you can. I can't read Japanese, but thankfully it was translated, and this is basically due to the in-person location test for Guilty Gear Strive coming out after the recent beta adjustments they're making. My big hope here specifically is that we see some adjustments to Strive's sort of the way combos work, and that there's some issues where you can have very easy infinites or janky infinites along with infinites on block strings that I hope they fix. I don't mind the high damage, but I do mind the fact that the combo system felt like it could get not repetitive, but stale. I don't know how to describe it. They might just be from the character I play. However, I'll definitely be trying out more characters in the second beta. So stick around if you want to see some more of the Strive on the channel. As you've seen from most of my play, I played Kai, Faust, and their combo game wasn't exactly the best outside of RC. So perhaps with Ino and Anji, who I plan on trying out both of them, I'll get to see some better variety. I did try out Soul a bit, and he definitely has some things, so could be wrong there. In fact, I most likely am. The Drift RC is a great mechanic, and I hope they leave it intact. And in fact, now that I mention it, coming off of the Dead Backyard we discussed 2 weeks ago, I hope we see some adjustments to the meter system in this in-person test. That's what I'm hoping to see. Anyway, moving on from Guilty Gear, we've got the Granblue Versus trailer coming out from their new character as well, Eustace. We saw the teaser for him last week, and now we get to see him more so in person. Well, not in person, but gameplay instead of just the teaser. Anyway, let's go ahead and strap in for this. And no matter what they bring out, I will still lament on the fact that Granblue is a high cost game for the average person if you want to have everything. which they could easily fix by having a big bundle after their next DLC character for the last one in this. But looking strictly from his playstyle, Useless is sick. Like actually, if I played the game, I'd be way into the character probably because he has a sort of set play style in a way with his grenades and his bombs or lightning energy. He looks really cool to me, and his theme is also really tight. He can also set this explosive, which I think is tight, especially with that. Look at the air grab; it's so sick. The follow up. There's a set play. It's the snipe, anti-air, DP, and his super is the sickest thing about him probably far. He becomes the next character on the Glam Blue roster, which is becoming quite a sizable roster. However, also quite an expensive one. Yeah, if you didn't know, coming April 20th, you can play him right about now if you want. Speaking of which, happy $420 who smoke. Yes. As you can see, the next trailer will be during 2021's summer. Get Rage. And this also seems to be the last trailer for this pass. Hopefully, after this, we get an announcement of some sort of bundle for the game. And then it'll be more worth looking at from my perspective as someone who thinks the game is a bit overpriced. Now, next three games are going to be some more lesser known titles that got some nice news. The first one is Vita Fighters. If you don't know what Vita Fighters is, I didn't know it first myself. Vita Fighters is a mobile fighting game, and it's quite a very well put together one. It gives me some Tough Love Arena vibes, but that's not a bad thing because Tough Love Arena isn't a bad game. As far as I know, the game doesn't have online though, but it does have a nice single player that you can play through with the boss. Turn this down a bit. It has a bit of a blocky art style though, so if that's a turn off for you as far as graphics go, you might not be into the game. This is coming off the back of an update to the game in which they added this new character along with new mechanics and quick stand forward, back roll, reversal. Reversal being special blocking. You see reversal. It's sort of like a guard thrust, I believe it's called, a unit where they added two new bosses. In addition, there's also another new character in Lawrence. He is a new character. And what I played the game is actually quite enjoyable. But and since it has controller support, it wouldn't be the worst thing to mess around with. Serious Character Super. Yes, it's also now available on Google Play, which is what I used to mess around with it. So have fun with it, boys. I think it's worth a try, and it's free, so you don't have to worry about any issues with that. You want to check out some more things, you have to look into Vita Fighters a bit more yourself. Following up from Vita Fighters, we have a Dengeki Reignition. This is a fan patch coming for DFCI, and Reignition is a content patch that continues off the basis that French Bread created, further tweaks the balance. A big thing that they changed in this were targeted towards making assists viable, playable characters were changed to get more balance. They fleshed out some mechanics that needed to be fleshed out, along with adjusting some potentially unbalanced things. Here's how to apply the patch. You make a copy of the base game, unzip the patch link, insert the content into the game folder, and replace all the existing content. patch is compatible with the rollback net play implementation, which is good to see. Moving on past Dengeki, we're going to move on to our last little upcoming game adjustment, which is going to be Pocket Bravery, which is coming to Indiegogo. Indiegogo is sort of like a Kickstarter sort of format. If you've never used it, which is just going to let you support the game. You've probably seen this game before, but if you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and play this right now. It actually looks really good, in my opinion, for what it is. Sort of that small pocket-sized fighter, and I think it looks pretty nice. I think the big takeaway with this game is that it's most likely going to be able to run on pretty much anything, which will be nice to see. It'll probably have rollback, but I can't say that for certain. But my big hope is that this has crossplay. I think rollback and crossplay are the two most important things for fighting games in this current generation. And most people, especially American devs, understand the need for rollback. However, crossplay is something that fighting games are still getting and need to understand. So I hope that comes in for this game. And also take a look at this super. What a flash that is. I'll go ahead and put the link real quick for us, but I'm pretty sure the Indiegogo link shows that the game will be. Forgot that title. No, I'll check it later, and I'm pretty sure it is going to be on all platforms just about. So that'll be nice to see. That's gonna be just about it for Lucky Fuzzies. Like I said, my co-host Drift is busy with a meeting today, so I'm just gonna rapid fire. So I just figured I'd rapid fire through the quick news, and it'd be awkward to discuss a topic alone, and at least for me. I may discuss it later on a later stream, but not right now. And that's gonna be about it for us guys. I'll catch you all later. That was Lucky Fuzzies, the rapid fire edition, and that's gonna be it for the news. I've been Synder, your host. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe down below. I'll catch you all later.